Morning opens on the narrow dirt path in front of a modest village house. The young girl steps out with a woven basket and a long fishing rod carrying the calm rhythm of a day lived close to nature. Before leaving for good, she lingers near the porch as if making one last check of what she needs to bring. Nothing is said aloud yet. The way she prepares suggests that this walk to the pond is already part of an ordinary routine. The path leads her through low grass before opening onto the edge of a muted green pond. From this point, the film slows down. The story is no longer about travel, but about the quiet waiting between the angler and the water. She bends down in the grass along the bank and adjusts the line with small, careful movements. Close shots of her hands, the hook, and the thin thread make the viewer feel how much patience and precision are needed before the rod is ever lowered into the pond. Once the rod is ready, she stands still before the water and begins to wait. The pond is almost motionless, with only a small float and a few dry branches breaking the long silence. This stretch does not build tension through big movement, but through patience. She keeps watching lightly, testing the line, and then letting the rod rest again, as if she were learning to listen to the smallest changes on the surface. As the first part nears its end, the girl's concentration becomes even clearer. Even though the pond offers no dramatic signal, she does not give up. That waiting is exactly what gives the video its everyday honesty. The next section still begins by the pond, but the wider framing suggests that she has already spent a long stretch of time here. At moments, she sits to rest, then stands again to check the rod, keeping the story moving, even though the actions remain minimal. At last, she leaves the water and returns to the familiar path. That movement creates a clear chapter break away from the waiting space of the pond and back toward the warmer rhythm of the home and bamboo shelter. Once she reaches the yard, she lowers the basket and moves past family members in a scene that feels entirely lived in. Nothing needs a long explanation. The presence of relatives and the open porch is enough to make the story feel more intimate. From the yard, the story shifts toward the outdoor cooking spot beside the water and bamboo hut. She begins arranging the pot, the firewood, and the small tasks that come before the flame, signaling that the reward of the video will not come from the pond, but from the simple meal that follows. Science note: earthen stoves hold heat well because clay absorbs warmth and releases it slowly, so even when the flame is not very large, a pot can still boil in a steadier, more even way. The fire gradually steadies under the pot, and the evening light begins to settle over the water. These images shift the entire mood of the video, turning a daytime fishing trip into a rustic night scene of smoke flame and meal preparation. As the light fades further, she remains patient beside the stove, adding water, checking the pot, and letting the work unfold slowly. It is this stretch that turns the bamboo hut from a backdrop into a real part of the life happening in front of the camera. When the food is ready, she carries it inside the hut. The dim light bamboo walls and dark floor make every movement feel smaller, yet that smallness is exactly what gives the frame its warmth and privacy. The meal begins in silence, with only the soft sounds of utensils and the darkness gathered around her. After all the waiting by the pond and the slow work beside the stove, this is the moment when the viewer truly feels that the video is about a way of life, not just a single activity. Seen from outside the hut, glows like a small refuge in the night. It closes the story in a very natural way. The place she returns to after the pond is not a staged setting, but a living space that is genuinely used. That was day 2 of this little girl living all by herself. She's still got 98 more days to go. You want to know how she's going to make it through the next 98 days? If you're rooting for her, smash that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss day 3. Drop a comment saying day 3 down below if you want to see what happens next.